All right, Miguel, tell me about your fight coming up. You're finally back home defending the title. Not only are you defending the title, but you're also one of the best pound for pound fighters in the world today. Tell me your thoughts about basically making your homecoming.
I made my career here. I'm fighting the 5th of April in the UFC Pavilion. All I can say is I'm happy to be home. I made my whole life, my whole living here. Born and raised, fought here my whole time, my whole career, 8 years. I get to come back. I left a regional champion, I come back a world champion. I come back one of the best fighters in the world, and now I get to show everybody, all my fans, all the support's done.
What are your thoughts on your opponent? You were supposed to fight Brian Bowles, then it got moved to Muzaki, who is pretty much an unknown quantity. What do you know about him?
I know Mizugaki likes to stand on his feet and bang. I know he hits really hard. I've heard from a couple of different sources that have actually trained with him that he hits pretty hard. I know his jiu-jitsu is not the best in the world. I know his wrestling is decent. I know he could keep the fight standing if he has to. But I know once the fight gets to the ground, he has no maybe blue belt, purple belt level in jiu-jitsu skills. But as far as the striking, I hear he's one of the best in the world at the weight class, and I look forward to striking with him to see how good he is.
What did you learn in your win against Manny Tapia? I mean, you went out there and you could have taken him down at will and submitted him, but you are taking more of the mindset of you want to beat people at what they feel is their game. Is that your game plan, fight in, fight out now?
To answer the first part of your question, the fight with Tapia, I learned that if I stay calm, I'm very dangerous. I think either way, whether I get very excited and emotional or whether I'm calm, I'm dangerous. But when I'm calculated and cool, I'm very dangerous. I'm very precise. When I get very emotional, I leave a bit of an opening when I attack, but that attack is never going to stop. The fight with Tapia showed me that if I stay calm and cool, I can be very dangerous. And as far as being, considered one of the best pound for pound fighters in the world and beating guys at their strengths, I think to be considered one of the best guys in the world, you have to do that. If they told me Tapia was a great boxer and had bad jiu-jitsu and I took him down and submitted him right away, that wouldn't really prove anything. That proved that I'm a better grappler than Tapia. Tapia's a great striker, and I beat Tapia at striking. That puts me up there. That puts my striking game up there. They say Mizugaki's one of the best strikers in the weight class, and that's not got power in both hands. But we're gonna see. You're gonna see who got the better striking. I'm sure I'm gonna fight a guy that's gonna be considered a better grappler than me. I'm gonna fight him on the ground. I want to beat him on the ground and show people that my skills are at a world level class.
Miguel, you started off at the Clemente Center teaching back in East Chicago. What does it mean for you to now have this amazing facility, have all these world-class fighters wanting and basically begging at your doorstep to try to train with you? Tell me about the evolution from the Clemente Center in East Chicago to Roxana, and now you have this great facility here.
I don't really think it's evolution. I think it's destiny. I think at the Clemente Center, I had a good group of guys, and there was magic there. And we just took that magic and expanded it a little bit. Fighting this whole time, I think it's been 10 or 11 years, fighting this whole time, I've always had dreams of doing something big. This is actually kind of small for me right now still. I'm looking to do something, maybe 5 times, 6 times this big. I want to have, over 1,000 students. I want to have my own gym. I want to have my, this is a martial arts academy, but I want to have my own gym. I want to have an indoor soccer field. I want to have a paintball field. I want to have a pool. I want to have basketball. I want to have, whatever you can call for the community. It's just it's a matter of time. I think the bigger you aspire, the bigger you're gonna do. I'm never satisfied with goals that I meet. I always meet my goals, and I always got to come up with new ones to stay active and to keep my mind working. To have a gym like this in Hammond is very important for me because I'm from this area and this is me giving back to my community. I have a ton of kids that train here, a ton of adults that this gym makes an impact in their lives and it changes their lives for the better. Nobody comes here and is a bad person. People who are bad people that come here don't last. People who stick around this gym go on to do great things and good things.
What does it mean for you to be an inspiration? I mean, if there's any East Chicagoan out there, and not really blowing smoke up whatever, but just calling it as we see it, you have really been one of the most inspirational East Chicagoans that has ever come out, being the world champion and living the lifestyle that you do. What does it mean for you, and how much do you carry that in terms of being an inspiration for all East Chicagoans, because you grew up in the streets just like a lot of kids are doing right now?
I take that very personally. I carry that with me everywhere I go, especially when I walk into fight. I know that when I fight, I'm not just fighting for myself, representing myself. I'm representing a group of people. I represent my community, not just my family and my friends. I believe in East Chicago. I believe that East Chicago is a good place. It has a lot of good people in it, and it has a lot of misguided people. And every time I step in there and fight, it's a way to show the good people in East Chicago that if you stay good and you do good things are going to happen. And it's a way to show the misguided people that you can change. If you choose to do something great with your life and you have aspirations and dreams, you can follow them and do big things. It's just something that I carry with me every time I do something. That's why I won't leave the area. I think good things are going to happen for me staying here. I think if I see the city's going to catch on and they're going to see what I'm doing. I mean, half people in East Chicago don't even know who I am. And I think that's a bit of a mistake. I think there's a lot of things that can happen positively for the community if I was involved, if the city wanted me to get involved. But like I said, I have faith in what I'm doing, and I have faith in my career and my style. And I think that with the more time that I put in, the more time that I'm here in this community, the better things are going to happen.
What does the future have to hold for you? You've mentioned about going up to 145, and in recent interviews even talked about endeavoring down the line into the UFC 155-pound lightweight division.
I've talked about a couple of different things. For me, cementing a legacy at 135 is the most important thing. I've only been fighting here for 1 year. I think 2 or 3 more years at 135 will be a very big key element to my legacy at 135. But fighting at 145, there's a handful of guys that would love to fight, but there's a handful of guys at 155 that I would love to fight. So I have to weigh my options. You can't fight forever, especially in the sport that I'm in, especially at a high level and at a great level. I'm not fighting mediocre guys anymore. Every guy that I fight now is my next Super Bowl. Every guy that I fight is the next biggest and best fighter out there. So you take how many fights I've had in my career, and you take how many big fights I have now. The last 4 fights that I've had outmeasure the last 40 fights that I've had. And that goes as not just experience, but as an impact of training, impact as media and press, impact as importance and pay. So you gotta take that into consideration. So to make a jump from 135 to 145 would be great for the fans, but I can't go to 55 after I've been at 45. If I go to 135 and go to 55, it'd be a lot better for me because the guys would be a lot heavier, but I'd be a lot fresher in my mind and my body. So I'm gonna have wars either way. I'd rather have a giant, huge war at 155 than have a lot of small wars at 45.
Before we let you go, Carlson Gracie passing away, I know was a very big influence in your life. Do you still feel him with you every single day of training?
I feel Carlson there all the time, especially closer that I get to my training camps. Carlson used to always tell me that I overtrain myself. And I get close to the end of the training camp and I hurt myself. And I look over and I see Carlson yelling at me, I told you you're training too hard. So Carlson's always there. He said a lot of things about me before I was a world champion. And they were all foreshadowing the future. He said I was going to be unbeatable at 135. He said I was going to be the next world champion at 135. And he said I was one of the best fighters in the world. And now I'm proving everything that he's saying right. And, I owe a lot to him, but, he's not around anymore. So I always think about him and I always carry him in my heart wherever I go because he's had such a big impact in my life.